Hey, party people, repent for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Listen, I just started this new podcast called Cracking the Code into the Spiritual World. Now, the reason I started this podcast is because I'm thoroughly convinced that the average person has absolutely no idea about the spiritual world. You know what I mean? I can't say no idea. People have some kind of concept. They got the Hollywood version, like there's some old man with a long white beard up in the clouds, and there's angels that fly around, land on clouds all day, playing a harp with these big wings. The Hollywood production. But most people have absolutely no idea about the spiritual world and how it relates to us on a daily basis. The truth of the matter is, the spiritual world is far more important than the physical world. We live in a physical world, but there's a spiritual world where everything happens in the spiritual world before it happens. Let me turn my phone off. Before it manifests in the spiritual world. But most people don't have any idea or any clue about what that is or what that actually means. So I figured I would come on. I'm actually in the process of writing a book. Hold on, somebody text me. I just want to make sure it's not my child. Yeah. It's I'm writing this book called Cracking the Code into the Spiritual World, because the spiritual world is so important. It really is, because everything happens in the spiritual world and it manifests itself here in the physical world, but we don't even know about it. But if you understand, if you're able to crack the code to the spiritual world, you'll be able to live the life that you was created to live and not have so much uh, hardships and so much trauma and negativity happening in the physical world. If we all collectively understood the spiritual world and learned how to operate in the physical world through the spiritual world. So we're spiritual beings. We're all spiritual beings. I remember witnessing my mother pass away. I saw her spirit leave her body. Like, I literally saw it. I mean, I didn't see like a ghost flying through the air and nothing like that. But I saw her eyes go up, like it was like somebody lifted up a shade. And her eyes went up like that. They went a shade different. And that's the moment she died. I seen it physically, her spirit physically leave her body. And that's what happens, is we're spiritual beings encased in a physical body, and we live in a physical world. But if you understand the spiritual world and what operates in the spiritual world, you'll be able to control a little bit more of your physical world, if that makes sense. In the spiritual world, that is where the Most High reigns. That's where um, Yahuah. Now, I'm gonna just say this: I call the Most High, or people call God, I call him Yah by his name, Yahuah. Now, God is a title. It's the word Elohim. Elohim is a title. It's a title of the beings that live in the spiritual world. Now, Yahweh is the Most High God, the Most High Elohim. But there's angels that are Elohims, there's demons that are Elohims, there's God. That just simply means gods. It's a title. There's God is the capital G God, and the rest of them are lowercase g gods, but it's still the same term. So that's how come you should know the name of the God that you believe in, as you call him by his name. In fact, the fourth commandment says not to take the Lord thy God's name in vain. So when they translated the Bible from Greek to English, they used the Greek terminology of Lord, which is just a title, another title. But basically, that is saying don't take the name Yahweh in vain. And it doesn't mean things like what we think, like don't say, I'm gonna say got. Don't say got to damn, because that's taking his name in vain. But that's not really what it means. It means don't make his name, turn his name into nothingness, which is what we did by not calling his name. That's how come you watch these so-called celebrities on award shows. The first thing they say is, "I want to give honor to God," and we be like, "Oh, they a believer, or they're a Christian. They say they want to give honor to God." You don't know what God they calling, so just because they use the word God does not necessarily mean that it's the same God that is the God of Israel, or the Elohim of Israel, which is the God that, if you are a believer in the Bible, is the one that you should be following and living through. But in the spiritual realm, there's devils and there's angels, and and the devils are competing every day to try to take you away from God, trying to take you away from Yahuah, trying to get you to do what they want so that they can sever your connection to the Most High. That's their job. I call the Satan the hardest working man in show business because he doesn't take a rest. He goes to and fro trying to see who he can devour. That's his job, to steal, kill, and destroy. And so it is our job to understand that so that we can understand the spiritual world and we can understand the physical world and we can understand how we can operate in the physical world by connecting to the spiritual world. That should be your number one priority. And that is what this podcast is going to be all about. This podcast is going to be all about understanding the spiritual world and how it correlates with the physical world. So I want you to subscribe so you can go. This is going to just be an introduction. So this is the introduction. I do have a book coming out soon. I've actually finished writing the book, just editing it now. It's the same title, Cracking the Code into the Spiritual World. And I give you full detail how to battle, how to do a spiritual warfare, what it means to be in the physical world, and operating in conjunction with the spiritual world. Like I lay it all out for you, really simple and easy. So as soon as it's available, as soon as I finish, I will let you know. But subscribe to the channel, share this with everybody you know, because we need to see. The thing is, the Bible tells us that my people are destroyed by lack of knowledge, and knowledge is what we need. We need to understand. It's very important that you understand the spiritual world. It's very important that you understand the physical world and how it relates to the spiritual world and how to operate in both of these worlds. I mean, you're not going to be operating in the spiritual world, but how to operate and have the spiritual world operate on your behalf in the correct way, because it is always operating for you, whether it's for your good or whether it's for your bad. But if you don't understand how it works and you don't know how to control it, then it's going to be operating for the most part bad. And that's how every single thing in this world connects. Everything is related. Like I always laugh because I didn't always understand how spiritual world worked either. But when I start learning about how this world really operates, then I start being called a conspiracy theorist, because when you learn how it operates, it's the total opposite of everything that you were ever taught. The total opposite. Like if you were taught up, then it's really down. If you were taught right, then it's really left. It's the total opposite. I remember when I first started, I guess, learning about this, was probably about 2008, 2009. I might have told this story. Some of you might have heard it. When my first cousin passed away. He was actually the second first cousin to pass away. My cousin Googie passed away, I think, in December 2008. And then my family got together. We started having Cousins Day because we were saying, we got to get back to being close. We used to be close when we were growing up. When my grandmother was alive, and we would go to church, and after church we would head over. Everybody would go to her house, so we were very close as children. But then as we got older and we had our own children, and my grandmother passed away, we stopped seeing each other regularly. So our children didn't even know their first cousin. They didn't know the other cousins that our cousins had. So we decided to have this cousin day. And at the first cousin day, one of my cousins who was living out in California and part of the music industry came and was telling us some really bizarre stories of what I thought was bizarre at the time, stories about things that was happening in the entertainment industry. And I really went and started, really piqued my interest, really started searching and finding. And this was during the time when everything wasn't so censored. Like you could go to YouTube and you could find real information. Everything wasn't blocked and stopped from educating you on anything that goes against mainstream. So I just kind of went down one rabbit hole after another rabbit hole and just learned all this information to the point my kids thought I was crazy at first. Especially my daughter. She was like, for years I thought you was crazy because everything you said was just the opposite of everything what everybody else was saying. But now that she's older, she understands what it is that I was saying. But these things happen. These conspiracy theories happen because we don't understand the spiritual world and the physical world and the influence that they have have the influence that the spiritual have on the physical world, and how they connect. Everything is connected. Every single positive thing, negative thing, everything is connected together, and it all stems from the spiritual world. So that's what I kind of want to teach you on, how to learn about how to crack the code for the spiritual world. So sign up, subscribe, um, pass it on, get all your friends about, because we're gonna learn how to crack this code. So y'all have a blessed and awesome day. I'm doing Phil's. Peace out.